Alright, hello everyone. Today we're going to be talking about the post-Sagittarius Cup community data gathered by the team over here, featuring Ramen, Ryan for Numbers, Cien, Juice, Clister, Zeus, Rice Tea, Warpluck, Matt, Karhumis, Johnny, and Valley. Right, thank you for all of your efforts to gather all this valuable data to tell people what is happening in Umamusume. Right, so as we can see here, retention across the CMs. The recent CM, unfortunately, I was not advertising it so much, so it was not going to get a lot of players coming to go and submit their data, but it's still a substantial amount, so we can at least see some of the stuff that we can expect to see. We can see that F2P are still going to be the kings of gacha games. Gacha games, you only have people who spend a little bit and spend very few, and then very few people will just spend a huge amount of money, right? So a lot of your enemies will actually be these people over here, so don't have to worry about getting a super unfair matchup, but they do exist every now and then. So if you fight that, just accept your fate, right? Okay, moving on, we have the win rate by spending tier. The more you spend, the more you're going to win. This is just how it is for a PvP gacha game. The higher power your cards are, the more significant your win rate is going to be, right? We will see how this changes when Make a New Track comes out, because generally the power level for both sides generally shrinks, right? So even if you're an F2P and you're a whale and you fight them, you will actually have very similar stat lines. Maybe not the best skills, but very similar stat lines. Okay. The luck versus grind, the more you play, the more you're going to hit, right? So that's how it works. Okay, round 1 data over here, right? First day was pretty free, right? It's a long CM, right? So long CM, the requirement to enter is very high. So not just some random team trial horse is going to actually pass. So you can see here a lot of people were actually getting some very fat wins, right? Very fat wins, because some people, they just don't build the horse properly for the CM. They don't get the correct skills, so the horse just doesn't have a good time, right? Go Ship, Christmas Oguri, Taishin, Mayano, Manhattan, Seiyun, Tamamo Cross. Any end closer that you can think of, they probably did it. And the two typical frontrunners is Maruzensky Summer as well as your Seiyun Sky. Okay, we also have Daiwa Scarlet rocket launcher strategies with the Saiyan Suzuka. Saiyan Suzuka was also used for the other horses to go and rocket launcher them. It was a very powerful strategy for this CM, right? For this one, we can see that mostly they were running them as encloser. For the Oguri Cap Christmas, it will be mostly Pace Chaser, and then some people wanted to make her into an encloser, which was perfectly fine also. Not really any bad options here. Pace Chaser, you just need to make them the strongest Pace Chaser and fight for the angling and scheming, and that's how you are able to get a very fat win rate, right? Team composition, you can see P and EEE were going to be the most common ones, because Oguri for Pace was extremely easy to make, literally super free to make, right? 777 as an emergency activator, or you pray for a straight line activator, or you just play for a corner recovery, whatever the hell you want, right? It's just one of those CMs where you just gamble with the Pace Oguri, but the Pace Oguri can emergency 777 for a decent proc. Okay. Round 2 data, we can see that it flattens quite a bit, because now we're only left with the people with actually legitimate horses, so the win rate would actually more or less go down to about 50%, which is very understandable, right? So if you get lower than this, don't worry about it so much, right? Remember, my data is basically more focused towards the sweatier side of the community. If you are over here, don't worry about it. I also got around here, doesn't matter, because if you get a win rate of here, you're going to A finals, I can guarantee you. Right? Round 2 Uma count by role, exactly the same. This is not one of those CMs where the people swap out certain horses, people just keep the same horses that they were using the entire time. Pace Chaser popular, Encloser popular as expected, right? And then you can see P is still very popular, EE is still very popular, right? These are the two most popular teams to go and run for this CM, and here we see a pretty decent retention rate here, blah. This one's not very important for us, right? Win rate of 51 to 53% in the round 2, that's just how it is. This is where the actual serious part of the CM happens. The finals can literally be a coin flip. Either you get a bunch of noobs, either you get a bunch of pros, or you get a bunch of very average human beings. Then you just all fight each other and see who gambles the victory, because it's ultimately an NSM game, right? Then over here, wow, who would have thought Ghost Ship would be the most popular horse in the game? Win rate not super high, because not everyone's going to make a very strong Ghost Ship, but Ghost Ship would definitely be above the average win rate for the finals. Take note, this is for finals only, right? For finals, a lot of the victors tend to be Xmas Oguris, tended to be Taishins, tended to be Ghost Ships, and also because the sample size is very small, Tamamo Cross. She's a very powerful encloser, right? Over here, we can see also over there with a very high win rate, it's Swimsuit Spechan. Some of you are hard carrying that character's win rate over there. Fuji Kiseki is also here for some reason. You guys are hard carrying that win rate. And Full Armor Fukukutaru is still hard carried by all of the enjoyers over there, right? The typical suspects are all over here. Surprisingly, Saiyan Sky was just getting absolutely bodied, as Maru was getting less bodied. I'm not sure what happened over here. Maybe it's just the finals moment, because it's finals win rate specifically, right? As Maru had the stronger mid-leg speed skill, so she beats Saiyan Sky if Saiyan Sky cannot get to the front to go and win. And obviously, you know, Suzuka is not going to be winning because Suzuka is mostly used as a rocket launcher, but she does have a little bit of a win rate over here, so some people actually managed to win with them, which is quite surprising. Okay, for finals data over here, we have who are these? Who are these horses? Who are these horses? Right? Who are these horses? It's gonna be Xmas Oguri. Wow, guys! Oh my God, Xmas Oguri, Ghost Ship, and Taishin. Wow, these are not the silhouettes, but alright. Okay, we got Xmas Oguri being the most powerful horse, Ghost Ship being the second most popular one, Taishin being the third most popular one. Who would have thought a long CM would be just Enclosers plus Xmas Oguri? No one could have thought about this. Okay, moving on, we have the other best performing Umas, Encloser, 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 Frontrunner, 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 and also Mayano Wedding. I don't know where you run her, because you can run her anywhere, right? Mayano can be run Encloser, Frontrunner, whatever the hell you want. Right, so as you can expect, this CM was as boring as you thought. It was literally just run your Oshi in the Encloser position or run them in the Frontrunner and then try to angle and scheming and get a big lead, but if someone hit NSM perfect proc, you just lose the game. Unlucky. Right? OCR data by value over here. We have a bunch of images over here, which is not relevant to all of you, so we're just going to skip this. Okay, we have the stat spreads. Alright, stat spreads have good speed. Right, the stamina would be about 900 something. That's where most people ended up with. The guts would be about 400, 500-ish. Power about 900-ish on average. And then over here, you will see about a width of 700 if you can. Right, the keyword here is if you can, because I know there's plenty of you here who are literally cannot get the width. Never mind, you just hit, you can still win. But having a bit of width is still very valuable, especially for long CMs, right? For this one, we have the lowest stamina horse, one of the lowest, and pace chaser, Xmas Oguri, who managed to win, right? No angling and scheming, literally no angling and scheming on this horse, but managed to win her finals. Very nice. For this Oguri cap over here, win rate by running strategy is Encloser and Pace Chaser. Who would have thought? Literally is a long CM. What do you expect? Right? And then over here we have Windia, another special mention, one with the best photo finish, which is nose, and neck, which is quite ridiculous, and one with Encloser Teo. Encloser Teo. Okay, just shove her into Encloser, run it down, win the game. End of story. Right? Encloser moment right here. Okay, skill counts, you want to have a lot of skills. The more skills you have, the better your win rate is going to be, but if you can't get the skills, don't worry about it. Right, OCR special mentions by Baurista and Coffee, which is a crazy name. Who is like submitting these kinds of names, by the way? This is actually crazy. I want you guys to look at this TM Opera O, by the way. Look at this Opera O. This is the least skills, but managed to go to A finals, right? And then this Taishin also, right? Really little skills, but still managed to go to A finals. Really ridiculous, right? But they managed to still go, right? Like, it's literally just get long as, get the important skills, and you're basically good to go in order to get into A finals. Right, over here we have Melf with the most skills, literally 17 skills in total. Right, front runners, they just buy a bunch of these green skills over here. It's just very amazing. Right, if you wonder why I keep saying front runners is a very whale strategy, see if you can actually hit something like this yourself. If you can hit something like this yourself, then you are a true hardcore front runner enjoyer. If you can't hit this, then you are a casual frontrunner enjoyer. I'm kidding, obviously, because he probably has some very strong cards in order to hit these stat lines over here. Like hitting stam and power and width and speed, and all this is really damn hard. Really damn hard. Right? Most common borrows, wow, Biko Pegasus and Fine Motion. This is why Fine Motion is still a very valuable card, even later on when you pull it again on the Esmaru Fine Motion banner. You will always want to get Fine Motion, right? Only 23 people borrowed from the data that we gotten so far for Kita-san Black. So I'm thankful that a lot of you are free of Kita-san's chains. You guys are finally able to actually play the game. When we go into Man, Kita-san will not be the most optimal, but do not get scared by anyone telling you that it's not optimal to put Kita-san Black. If you have nothing else, just put it in. Right, it's still a perfectly fine card. Right, Super Creek for the longer CMs is going to be more popular. Right, so yeah, that is something that we expected to see over here. But Fine Motion, Biko Pegasus, these two are the ones that I would expect most people to go and borrow for sure. Okay, and then over here we have the Wits Deck Teo. I don't know how. He 900 stamina this horse with 4 wit cards, 1 Kita-san Black, and 1 Rico. 4 wit cards. He get the stamina to this level. Ridiculous. He won, by the way. He got a finals win with this horse. Absolutely ridiculous. how much you grinded for this, right? Then we got Fuji Kiseki, the most relatable winner. This is technically all budget cards with 1 borrowed nice nature and then a 2 LB Rico, right? But this is also a very insane stat line for what cards he has over here, which means his parents must be absolutely godlike, or his rainbows were absolutely godlike. I really don't know, but he was able to win, right? He has no Kitasans, no Creeks, no Rice Showers. Very, very ridiculous stat line over here, right? And over here we have Urara, who got 1, 2, and 3. I do not even know why this is a thing, but okay. Urara, the the SSS winner with Pace NN, right? Okay. Right, over here we have the website, which is the Umamusume dashboard. It has very, very good data for everyone. It's really, really very good, right? You can just see what people's decks are, so you can go and copy paste. You can go and see who won with what kind of stat lines. It's a very, very good website, especially when the races rerun, because the races actually rerun. So if you have all the data from the previous CM, you can go and look at it again and then be like, so I need to get these stat lines again. Although this is not really very relevant later on, because the stat caps are going to go higher. But you at least see like how relevant the stat lines were in the past. This is still a very, very important thing to go and look at in the future. Right, award section wise, we have the only Agnes Digital winner, Azucat. With 1200 speed, the stamina requirement met, good power, and as you can see here, the width is not 800 or 600, sorry, it's not 700 or anything like that, right? It's about 500, 600-ish width, right? This is more than sufficient in order to get you your victory, so congratulations on the Agnes Digital victory, very, very nice. Okay, we also have the only Wedding Air Groove winner. Think though, these are the only ones that have been submitted, right? You may have won, but you didn't submit your data. Right, the only Wedding Air Groove, they had to win with the horse. It's not carried by anyone else. Have to win with the horse. Now this one was much, much lower stamina, but the width was super, super high compared to this one over here. Right, so stamina range of there to there, but was able to win, very, very nice. Right, the only OG Gold City winner, Iru, with 1200 speed. The stamina also not very amazing, but width and power over here, very, very nice. Right. Okay, and then the only Aishin Flash Finals winner over here, as you can see here, right, the width is all high variance. It's either 600 width, 900 width, 900 width, and then there's 700 width. But all this width is all winnable. It's just more consistent or less consistent, right? The only Aishin Flash Enjoyer, the German horse, very, very nice to see. The only Festival Gold City winner. We literally have so many of these, by the way. You guys need to submit more of these, right? The power is so bad. Power so bad compared to all of these other horses that we looked at, right? All these other horses like 800 power, 900 power, and now it's 700, well, borderline 800 power, right? But still able to win with the Festival Gold City. Only Vodka Finals winner, humongous power, no width, just hit, win the game, right? This stamina is actually too high. This stamina is actually too damn high, but this Vodka was able to win, which is quite ridiculous. Vodka mains are really, really built differently. And the most famous of all is Dojinski, who has a Bakushin long Arima Kiden victory. Oh, Bakushin victory! Oh my god, a Bakushin victory! He hit the stat lines, he hit the long S, with this horse, and he was able to win with Bakushin. Absolutely ridiculous by Dojinski over here. Right, and then over here you got the quizzes. Feel free to go and look at them yourself if you want to. These are not very relevant to you. And then check out all of the relevant people here. Nas has the Umamusume and also our official Discord if you want to go and check out more of this stuff over here. If you want to go and submit your data next time, just go and submit when the CMs have just started. The forms will be posted in the Discord and I'll try to advertise them in my YouTube links and also while I'm streaming. Right, so thank you all for your hard work. Thank you for all of the data that you've committed over here. Ultimately, we get to see all this very, very cool stuff here, like the legendary Sakura Bakushino Finals winner. Right, so truly, Umamusume is a game where if you will it, you can make your horse win the game. Alright, it is very, very enjoyable right now. I love Umamusume. Right, later on it might not become so obvious, but it's still definitely a game of you can make your Oshis win. Right, there will be plenty of Oshis to enjoy later on because they keep releasing newer and newer horses. Right, so that is all for this video, guys. Thanks for watching. I shall see you guys next time. Hope you have a good time grinding and pulling for your upcoming banners because this period of time is going to be very, very important for you guys. Bye bye everyone. Thank you for watching.